The right angle. I first want to promote an event that's happening later today that I will film and should be able to post highlights of later on today. This is Carrie Lake. She is a conservative here. Highlights of later on today. This is Carrie Lake. She is She will be at later on today at Cabot, Arkansas. She's supposed to be doing several different events. You can find them on Eventbrite, which are doing a book signing. And then there's other events. I just typed in Carrie Lake, and this was on the events in Arkansas. She's supposed to also be a guest, I think, on 101.1 FM The Answer. Carrie Lake was the governor of Arizona. She had her election stolen from her via election fraud. I believe Arizona rather, has a majority Republican legislature, and so they've been able to block the Democrat who was the Secretary of State there. She's also the same woman who stole Arizona for Sleepy Joe, the guy we have now. And speaking of presidential races, there are several candidates that are running for the Republican Party of presidential nomination. And a few of them decided to go onto a faith leadership summit. Now, I don't know what this organization is. A lot of these organizations, especially these organizations that are in hotels or convention centers, they actually don't do that much. They just take a lot of people's money and help put RINOs in office and don't really accomplish anything. But here, I don't know, this organization may be a good one. This was also done by Blaze Media. Tucker Carlson interviewed several candidates running for president of the United States. One of them is this clown right here, Asa Hutchinson. Asa Hutchinson was the former governor of Arkansas. He sold us out on his Obamacare Medicaid expansion. He sabotaged efforts regarding the ability to protect yourself with a firearm. He claims to be pro-life, but actually kept the abortion clinic open when several states kept it closed theirs during the Fauci flu. And speaking of COVID mandates, he actually enforced COVID mandates. He mainly used the Department of Health to harass and shut down mom and pop stores, while Walmarts and other large globalist corporations are allowed to stay open. So that's this guy. He's been a clown. He should have never made it to office. I campaigned for people that ran against him. One was a man named Curtis Coleman, and then in his second term, Jan Morgan ran against him. Those people lost in large part because he is bankrolled by the Arkansas Chamber of Commerce, which is a pedophile, illegal immigration supporting organization. This guy actually sabotaged the SAFE Act, a bill that would have protected children from gender mutilation. So, and there's other people that are on this interview. So I'm just going to play this. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a workout. I am going to have to leave here in a little bit to go to an event to film the Carrie Lake. I'm actually supposed to be filming the Carrie Lake event. And the registration starts at 3. It's not until 4:15. But I want to get there a little bit early and set up. I'll be in a lot better of attire, and I'll take some pictures and video of that. But anyway, let's go ahead and just play this now, and go ahead and follow. I'm going to share this link with other people while this is going on, and then I'll start doing a little bit of weight workout here.
One of the powers that government did usurp over the past several years is the right to decide what medicine you take in the form of COVID mandates. How did you feel about that, and how many COVID shots did you take, and how do you feel about it now, in retrospect?
How many COVID shots did you take?
0.
Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, but I can assure you who's not, and that's RINOs like Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, and what's left of Asa Hutchinson, which you just saw there. They literally had their political careers destroyed yesterday, and it was none other than Tucker Carlson, who is the RINO slayer par excellence. Tucker hosted the Family Leadership Summit in Iowa on Friday, and he got to grill some of the GOP presidential candidates who were there. And as you saw, it was utterly brutal. I mean, brutal. We finally have a nationalist populace asking our candidates real questions, questions we actually care about, questions that reflect our priorities, our values, not the priorities and values of the Republican donor class. And you could tell These candidates were caught totally off guard. Here's perhaps one of the most obnoxious, odious of the GOP presidential candidates, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, getting crushed by Tucker for his woke trans activism.
Permanent change is one issue, but also hormonal treatment is a different issue and can be a different issue. And whenever you look at the bill that I vetoed, there was not any grandfather clause in there. Again, I respect legislators that have a different view, but I think independently, I think of the parents, I think of the Constitution, and actually the court, if you read the decision of the federal judge that struck it down as unconstitutional, really sided with parents as well.
But how is it treatment? I guess that's my question. If you have a child who who's born a boy, I want to become a girl, he hasn't gone through puberty yet, he's say 10. Is it treatment to prevent him from going through the natural process of adolescence? How is that treatment? It seems not like treatment. It seems like something else.
Well, you'll have to, Tucker, I hope that we'll be able to talk about some issues. I know that...
Well, this is one of the biggest issues in the country, and I think every person in this room would agree that...
And a side note, every time this guy did have to show up before the state legislature to advocate for something, he would always have some other event to go to, every single time. He never really took questions. He's never taken really hard questions from anybody until now. Anyway, I'm going to keep going.
It is a central issue because these are children who are being altered permanently, and you can defend that alteration, that change, if you like, but there's really no debate about whether or not it's permanent. And so I think it's fair to ask you in a calm, rational, and I very much hope polite way, why you would support that.
Stop! I can't watch! Glenn Beck likened that interview to the Hindenburg disaster. It was that bad. But if Asa Hutchinson was the Hindenburg, Mike Pence, former VP Mike Pence, was the Titanic.
Along the way, the Biden administration has been slow in providing military support. Make no mistake about this. We promised them 33 Abrams tanks in January. I heard again 2 weeks ago in Ukraine, they still don't have them. We've been telling them we'll train their F-16 pilots, but now they're saying maybe January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
It's not my
Tucker,
concern.
I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern.
The makers of Heroes
That,
War
my friends,
should be sent to Ukraine.
was the very definition of committing political suicide. That's not my concern. That's going to be played over and over again in these primaries.
At least he's honest.
Where's your concern
Let's
for
be
the
honest,
United
most
States? That's not my concern.
Most politicians don't care about the cities.
I mean, gang, there's no coming back from that.
You know how these cities are falling apart, and we have all these departments of health, transportation, interior, and yet all our cities, the bridges are crumbling. And you'll hear politicians, especially Democrats, when they try to push a tax increase, we need it for infrastructure. There's actually a local tax increase going on, a tax extension for Sebastian County and a little town called Alma, Arkansas, happening August 8th. For those who, when you see this, if you're in that area or even plan to be in the area, know somebody in there, contact them, let them know. And it's always for, we need to repair the streets, you need to repair the potholes. And we have so many departments that handle that, and yet it never gets done. So Mike Pence is really, at least to be fair, being honest, they don't care about the cities. They only care about special interests or saving the Soros puppet in Ukraine or some other project.
I mean, Tucker literally obliterated Mike Pence's entire political career in under 60 seconds. But Tucker also grilled him. I mean, the whole thing was just an absolute train wreck for Pence. But Tucker also grilled him on his supporting Zelensky, even though Zelensky is overtly persecuting Christians. Take a look.
Would you, may I ask, would you be, and I believe you have a good faith position on this, and we have disagreements on it, but I want to just, I can't let you elide over the question of the treatment of Christians.
I know, I heard that.
And would you be, well, no, but hold on, would you be
problem is you don't accept my answer. I just told you that I asked the religious leader in Kiev if it was happening. You asked me if I raised the issue, and I did.
And I'm saying
I also raised it with the Ukrainians, and I was told that there are religious leaders who have been working with the Russian military that is murdering people by the thousands.
Okay.
I mean, Tucker, look.
Wait, but
I've been told by people.
Let me explain to you what I think our national interest is there.
I would think you would have greater concern for religious liberty in Ukraine. And I'm surprised
I told you I raised the issue of religious liberty.
No, you spoke to one person who's clerly on one side of it, and there are many, many news reports that are not disputed by anybody that many clergy have been arrested in Ukraine. And I'm merely saying I may not agree with their views. I'm not Russian Orthodox, but you can't arrest clergy for having different views, period. Because if you do, you violate the basic tenet of religious liberty.
I want to be clear with you. I won't stand by it. I won't stand for it. If people are being persecuted for their religious beliefs, I won't stand for it. In any country with which the country of our nation is supporting or our allies are supporting.
Yes. Billions of dollars to Muslim regimes.
Another highlight for me was Tucker Carlson asking Nikki Haley this.
Who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not claiming you did it.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Do you know who did it?
Seems pretty obvious. It was backed by the Biden administration, I would say. I mean, I think all the evidence suggests that, but I wasn't there. But I mean, it seems like a huge step. This is the largest industrial sabotage in history, sent more carbon in the atmosphere than any act ever. And like, there's weirdly no curiosity about who did it. And I think that's strange. Why do you think
there's a lot of things that are strange with the Biden administration. This is the first one.
I guess what I'm really saying is if you were running against the Biden administration, to do something like that and shaft our closest allies in the world, which would be Western Europe,
this
and
is like
deprive
Mitt
them
Romney
of the energy they need to run their manufacturing sector and destroy their economy, which it is in the process of doing.
Against Obama, and didn't even mention
that's a major sin to have done
people
something
all over
like
the world.
You just betrayed our allies, and no one on the right is accusing the Bidens of what they clearly did. So I don't know why.
She's such a pathetic warmongering rhino, and that's basically how the entire day went. Tucker literally systematically obliterated the careers of rhino after rhino after rhino candidate. It was stunning to watch. It was literally like witnessing it.
But I liked what he did. He kind of cut up different sections of the interview there. But you can type in Asa Hutchinson interview. Type this in here, and you'll see other interviews regarding this. Here, I'll play this one.
Get state-of-the-art imaging services close to home at the all-new Unity Health Jacksonville Hospital.
Hey, Matt, when you pray, what do you pray for?
You know, great question. I heard your interview was really great today with Bob Vanderplatz, and I saw that you got to Deuteronomy.
Yeah, I've only gotten there, but I'm pretty set for judges, I'll tell you that.
When you get to James, you asked me what I prayed for. There you go. I pray for wisdom. In James, it talks about if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not. And that's the old King James Version I know. And upbraideth not is like a child coming to a parent and saying, can I have something, and you fuss at them. God never fusses at us or upbraids us for asking for wisdom. So I pray for two things. One, that I'll be a good steward of God's blessings to me.
You have failed
the
in that.
opportunities in public service. And secondly, that He'll give me wisdom. and there's human wisdom that understands the affairs of man that Daniel
He's just saying lines,
so
folks.
wise in. But
This
then
guy
there's
let the
also
Mina
eternal
cocaine
wisdom. The wisdom
smuggling
that
operation
we can
that was
see
done by
our
George
lives
Bush Sr. and
through the
Bill
lens
Clinton
of
happened under his
eternity.
nose. He was one of the
Recognize
district
the votes
attorneys
that
for
I
this area when
cast,
that was
the
going on.
vetoes that I do, it's not just a matter of accountability in history or with your constituents, but we're accountable.
His son works for a Chinese law firm.
And so
His nephew is in
I ask
jail.
for
The other
wisdom
one,
to have an
pretending to be a
eternal
Republican, has now formed an
the
anti-Republican,
biblical worldview that's
fake,
important to me.
nonpartisan
And
group
I
called
learned at
Common
Lockdown
Ground.
University that I learned at the Religious Freedom Conference at the University of Notre Dame, which Francis Schaeffer spoke. And I put that into practice in my life as a young lawyer before I was the youngest U.S. attorney. We started a Christian radio station, first FM radio station in Bentonville, Arkansas, in which we had James Dobson, we had John MacArthur, Chuck Swindoll on there. We
You
believed
played
in
an
that
act.
Christian ministry in our community. We started a Christian school before school choice was the movement of the country, because I wanted to make sure my children had those different
But you did nothing
options.
for school
And
choice.
so that's how I put wisdom to apply in my life personally, but also in the public arena.
That's the best thing to pray for. I appreciate it. Thank you, Governor. Great to see you.
Yes,
please.
All right, I heard you say, Bob, that I could do this. First of all, I want to congratulate Governor Reynolds and the legislature for the heartbeat bill that's going to be signed. Arkansas has been ranked as the #1 pro-life state in the nation. I'm proud of that. We want to protect the unborn child.
No, Texas
I also
is so
want
much
to say
pro-life nation.
that
They pushed a
all
law
kinds
that
of
forced
people
the
here
Roe v.
with different
Wade.
backgrounds, you've got different candidates as a favorite. I want to get on the debate stage. I think you want a robust debate. I want the people of Iowa to make the first cut on who's going to be the presidential nominee. And so help us get on the debate stage. My website is asa2024.com, and if everybody in this room gave $1 and then told 10 people to give $1, you'll get me on the debate stage. I'll give Iowa all the credit. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Give him all $1 and tell 10 people to give him $1. You know that doesn't work. That's a pretend fake grassroots effort that he's trying to do. So folks, I'm going to have to end this. I got to get ready to go to an event. I'll put some highlights. I'm actually not supposed to be live streaming this other event, but I will do so another time. Find a way to get involved. Follow me on YouTube and Rumble, Just the Right Angle. I'm going to upload video of this so you can see it there.